Man, I really am becoming a talkback radio station. I was going to do a nice fun Warhammer video today to give something nice to all the incels in my audience, to help them get through lockdown, but then I realised two things. One, lockdown doesn't change anything at all for Warhammer fans. If anything, it makes their lifestyle even more social as they have to go and get COVID tests now. The second thing is, I realised that there is just too many pinheads in the government. And let's be honest, talkback radio hosts aren't really doing their job. #ButtStuffBen is probably too busy enjoying how lockdown lets him watch even more videos of rim jobs than normal to have an incentive to hold the government to account. But it is insane, after reaching the peak of New South Wales COVID, almost 2 years into the crisis, with that much forewarning, I didn't think Berejiklian could screw it up anymore. But here we are. Gladys Berejiklian proving the AFR was right in that she is methodical in her incompetence, with this new plan to take vaccines away from regional New South Wales and give them to HSC students in Sydney. Honestly, I'm starting to question if Berejiklian and Barilaro are asking their advisors, how can we exceed all expectations of incompetence? How do we really become the gold standard? So we have a plan, but it's so stupid it might even make you shudder. Hit me. We start pork barreling vaccines. Bingo. How much more proof do you need that the Nationals absolutely, positively do not represent the regions than this? They signed off on it. The Nationals literally signed off on stealing from the bush to give to the cities. And I don't want to hear any excuses like, they had no control, no choice. For Christ's sakes, John Barilaro threatens to quit the coalition when the New South Wales Parliament dining room menu changes. Where's the veal scallopini? Where's my chief of staff? Tell her to call the fixated persons unit. The chef intimidated me. Did he endorse this plan? There's only two explanations for that. Either the Nats are trying to win back Byron Bay, or, as has been my thesis forever, the Nationals don't give a f*** about the bush. John Barilaro, the leader of a party for regional New South Wales, literally wrote an article in The Telegraph titled, John Barilaro, Vaccine is how rural New South Wales can repay the favour. The city is the first amongst many to assist rural areas in times of tragedy, and now is the turn of the bush to repay the favour. Let's not forget the fact that during the bushfires after his big holiday in London, he also wrote this article, John Barilaro, Bush shouldn't bear the brunt of the big city's guilt. You all come to the regions for hope. You've stolen our dreams, our children's future with your empty words. Blaming the cities for the bushfires when it suits his political agenda, claiming the cities helped heaps with the bushfires when it suits his political agenda. The only constant with John is his agenda being self-serving and not in the best interests of either the city or the bush. He's attempting to con the bush out of vaccines in an incredibly dishonest and inconsistent way. If anyone had told me 2 years ago that this state would suffer through its worst drought in history, the worst bushfires in history, floods and a once-in-a-100-year pandemic, I'm not sure I would have believed him. But here we are. Well, that's a f***ing indictment on your intelligence, John. Plenty of people were trying to tell you. Ross Garneau was one of them, and seeing as you're the most senior man in the New South Wales government, maybe you should have known about that. As the communities battled drought, bushfires, and the global pandemic, our city cousins did everything in their power to make sure our farmers kept their heads above water. Yeah? I heard of incredible stories of city folk driving bottled water down to Wilcannia, a town out of water. But they weren't your government, John. Your government did absolutely nothing. Your government is the most city-centric government in recent memory. You think New South Wales stands for Newcastle, Sydney, Wollongong. City people donated millions of dollars and booked their holidays to ensure businesses survived. They stepped up and helped in any way they could. Yeah, and I did exactly that. And now you're suing me and trying to send my employees to prison. I gave you thousands of dollars in business. And gee, looks like you'll need it to repay the GST you may have been avoiding, mate. Anyway, let's hear from Nationals MLC and Barilaro's beta orbiter, Wes Fang. We dress the same today. Come on, as if he shouldn't be put on the fixated persons list. Wes Orbit confirmed that the Nats don't care about the bushes when Helen Dalton essentially asked, holy shit, are the Nationals actually supporting vaccines being taken away from the bush and given to the city like some city slicker Robin Hood? Emphasis on the hood. Robin Hood's your vaccine, lad! He responded with, oh, I didn't think you and your tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theory supporters believed in vaccines anyway. Wes, first off, You're mistaking Helen's seat of Murray with Justine Elliott's seat, which contains Byron Bay. Lucky for you, though, they've also taken vaccines from her seat too. But more importantly, is that how a member of the government should react when an MP asks politely, why aren't my constituents getting vaccines? Your seat's crazy for not voting for us, and crazy people don't want vaccines. Oh! That really must be Wes's belief, that no regional Labor or shooter seats want vaccines, because for some reason, it's only regional coalition seats that aren't getting them taken away. When asked about this by Andrew Clennell, specifically about her taking vaccines from the Central Coast, a Labor area that's in lockdown, Gladys Berejiklian gave one of the two responses she gives when she doesn't want to answer a question. 1, I don't remember. 2, that question's offensive.
But many of the seats on the Central Coast happen to be Labor seats.
Firstly, that question offends me.
Don't you see the pattern of this government? They do unconscionably evil things, and then when questioned about those unconscionably evil things, they get offended by the question. How are they that soft? It's such a bad mix, soft and evil. Here's probably where you get Fairfax hacks chiming in with, don't worry guys, there's good intent. I want to help the kids finish the HSC. The only problem with that reasoning to justify this complete schizophrenic episode from the Nationals is that they expect us to trust that this pinhead, after failing to keep an outbreak in her own state, can keep it out of the regions. I told you I was turning into a shock jock. Today's pinhead, as is every day's pinhead, is this pinhead. What a clown. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Check out Homeworld's fake suburb. What the hell happens when COVID at this rate inevitably gets into the regions who have suffered 10 years of cuts and degradation to their health services, and now they're not even vaccinated? The Rural Doctors Association of Australia are furious and are desperately warning the government how dangerous this strategy is, not to mention how all the coalition apologists in the media are quick to stress the impact lockdowns have on mental health. How will a prolonged lockdown in the Murrumbidgee Health District, the region with the highest suicide rates in the country, fare? Because that's becoming more and more likely the more vaccines the National Party steal from the regions and give to the city. And for what? Ostensibly to let Year 12s complete their HSC. Here's why that's f***ing stupid. The HSC, in its essence, is a test predicated on giving kids as equal circumstances as possible to see if they're suitable for university. Pretty sure if they're all locked down for the HSC, the circumstances will be just as, if not more equal, than if certain areas are ravaged by COVID and some kids are vaccinated and some kids aren't. I don't think unis will have a more difficult time figuring out who to accept if there are less COVID cases. Plus, not pork barreling the vaccine has the added bonus of not endangering the most impoverished areas of the state, HSC students, teachers and families. Furthermore, why should anyone trust Gladys when she claims that it's safe for kids and teachers to go back to school when she herself has cancelled Parliament, and I can guarantee you more politicians are vaccinated than teachers? The bottom line is, you're more likely to die if you didn't vote for Gladys Berejiklian or John Barilaro. And Dan Andrews gets called a dictator. If Dan Andrews is a dictator, at least he's a competent one. Dan Andrews, I guess, is Tito to John Barilaro's Aladdin. He's that comedic. Think about it. This has been just the last few weeks. As a leader of a party that ostensibly represents the bush, he has taken away vaccines from the bush, defended his daughter evading fines for potentially bringing COVID to the bush, pork-barreled the vaccine rollout, and then spent a large chunk of his time suing a comedian for making jokes about his pork-barreling. All in the middle of what has been labelled by his own government as a national emergency. Is anyone going to point out the absurdity of the second most powerful man in the state suing a comedian during what should be the most intense focused time of his career? The media are letting him get away with it. Hell, it looks like Helen Dalton's Facebook page is the biggest opposition to this in the country. Anyway, I'm just looking forward to the day that Gladys is finally taken out by ICAC and we can finally breathe a sigh of relief and say,
I can't believe Auntie Gladys is really gone. Her legend will live forever.
Yeah, the legend of the dog-faced woman. Legend of the dog-faced woman. Oh, that's good.
Like and subscribe, and please, for the love of God, share this with everyone you know who thinks that the Nationals stick up for the bush.
Please share and comment below. Comment.